Hi, this is
Hi.
Mark Soden. I'm here with Santa Ana Noise Fest 13, and I am speaking to LOB of Instagon.
So I'm Lob from Instagon. I'm currently residing in a beautiful, wonderful small space in Arizona called Miami, Arizona. I reside in the campus of the Miami Artworks in Miami, Arizona.
So, all of those years ago, what led you to experiment with noise?
That's a really tough question. Probably a lot of weed and some recording toys. I got a 4-track recorder and I was able to do multi-layer stuff, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I kind of, yeah, probably just the happenstance of acquiring a 4-track recorder. I can't remember which one. I think a Tascam actually, and then a Yamaha. I had a Yamaha and a Tascam, different points, and then just being into interesting different music. I came up in the tape scene, so like I was really in the tape trading scene, and so from being a live taper and being in the tape scene, you kind of sort of discover that there's this whole tape culture of sound people doing weird music on tapes that you really weren't finding in stores. And I kind of got sucked into that, just being part of the tape culture.
So, this was the
Gosh,
eight,
I want to say probably 84,
right?
6 in that vicinity. I was working at a record store in LA called Neil's Records. And I kind of got exposed to a bunch of music by working at Neil's Records.
So, that was, let's see, 84. That was kind of concurrent with the postal art scene of people sending weird things through the
Yeah,
mail.
yeah, totally. I used to be really into sending weird things in the mail in the 80s until the internet started to happen in the early 90s, which kind of made that sort of fade away.
It it seemed quaint at that point.
Exactly.
So, do you have a piece of gear that you're going to use for Santa Ana Noise Fest 13 that you find inspiring?
Well, yeah, I used my cell phone. It was pretty inspiring. Um, I for Santa Ana 13, actually the sound that's on Santa Ana 13 is a collab that I did in 2013. The sound is going to be this piece called Hydrophonia, which is on the new album, the recent Pumpkin Smashing Dream. Uh, Hydrophonia using sounds that something that was like a thing where they wanted you to use these sounds that were sound during a whaling expedition. And so there were all these sounds made during a whaling thing, and they were like recorded underwater of sound things happening during a whaling happening, where people were hunting. And so they wanted some sort of open call to do a piece with these sounds. And I did this piece, and then I never remember these pieces to create this piece called Hydrophile for years. And then I put it out for the newest album where I was doing a collection of looping things. The new album is all there's not very much live recordings on it. It's all home recording loops and stuff during the lockdown. But this is an older piece, and Andrew, I took in the last 2 months. I've been out on the road for two. I haven't been able to contact you at all, and I did a lot of video shots with my phone at places I stay. And then I sent all these videos to Andrew, and with the concept of a video directed something using the video clips that I shot with my phone. So I guess the answer, yes, I said, would be my phone is the piece that I'm using for this.
That
Yeah,
would be pretty inspiring if you've been collecting video in your adventures for the last couple months. So, we talked a little bit about the noise scene in your area earlier, and maybe we can come up with a better question. Since Instagon has a long history, you have a unique perspective on doing things over a long period of time and doing with a wide variety of people. And what sort of things have you noticed in the Instagon project that are different from the beginning to now?
gun as its thing in general is a sort of a voodoo experiment there. I conjure a servitor demon using multiple participants, whether they're aware of it or not. And we conjure this demon as it's been conjured now for over 25 years. It's just grown and evolved. At first, it was a screaming, yelling child that was really unworldly and hard to manage. All children are. And then it grew into a pretty sarcastic teenager for a little while. And now it's become, being an adult, it actually finds itself wanting to do more, approaching things on a much more controlled level than it used to. That's probably the best way I could describe how Instagon has evolved. Is in the early days it was loud and everyone at once, and then it sort of got quiet, and then it got lively, and then it found jazz and space rock, and does a little bit of everything. And what's coming in the future is really unknown. I've been doing a lot of home recordings because of the lockdown, which has been fun, experimenting with loops and samples.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing, I haven't, I did a little bit about that. You might remember I did that in like 2013, where I was doing stuff for the Paths to Escape Boredom series. And I
Yeah.
then I got some samples and stuff from people, and I did loops. Well, the loops I did on the new album are all stuff from actual old Instagon recordings instead of random things that I got from people.
Oh, that's great.
What I kind of want to do with some recording stuff in the future is I kind of want to approach Instagon in a way where it's like a jazz recordings from the 50s and 60s, where I take a band into a studio, a particular band, and we go into a studio session, set up, play for a little while, go have a break, have some lunch, come back and play some more, work on the same sort of tracks over again, and fine tune a couple of songs with a certain type with each band, and maybe do different sessions with a different band working on the same songs or different songs, but kind of approach it more from that level, like how old jazz sessions used to be recorded, live in studio recordings rather than live in audience recording. Because I think that getting in front of an audience is going to be different as we come out of the pandemic. I think that finding stages for experimental performances is going to become harder than it used to be. It was already hard because people continue on through the pandemic. Lots of interesting venues have just collapsed and gone away. New ones will come, but they'll have to be being understanding what's happening. With what was there was already history. Like, get a cool venue to understand what was happening. Now people don't understand what's happening anymore, and no one knows what's happening. And so getting people out of their front of stages is going to be harder for some people than it is for others. Competition for stages is going to be a lot harder. And so finding things to do without playing live, but still being able to play live is kind of my approach. And then for noise, or more like this, I think I want to get into more long distance applications with Zoom and Discord, and being able to interact with people from far away and try to understand more about that. We haven't experimented enough with that, and seeing that I'm in a far away place now where I can get to people like I used to be.
Tell us about the noise scene that's happening there.
Well, there's not really a noise scene, but there's an art scene here that has aspects of noise and people that like to do it. And there's different, I really haven't grown into this Phoenix scene as much as I'd like. There's some cool people in the Phoenix and Tucson areas that I'd like to make more connections with. And I'm kind of in between those places, so I might be able to make something happen here in mixed scenes. But we'll see what happens in the future.
Ah, the future.
The
Um,
future, the future, the future, the future, the future, the future.
so, how do you prepare for a performance with Instagon? It sounds like you've got an idea with the.
Instagon. When I prepare for an Instagon, it's more about just, all right, we got a room. I'm gonna book a band. Everybody show up there. Then once we're there, we set up gear. I take everybody outside and give them a few ideas of the cues that I might throw at them that are from cues for my stage presence. And this is what this means. This is what that means, and go forward. That's the live playing with a live band. Playing with a noise band, it's a when I'm doing like a mixer set, I have to make sure that everybody's got a clean line and they can hear themselves when I can hear everybody. Mixer sets are really fun, and they've grown into something a lot more than they originally planned to be.
Yeah, they
Certainly.
do seem to have evolved quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty fun now when I get into a mixer set and can really use the mixer and the people that are involved by thinking about who I'm going to put in it rather than sometimes I just like the one that happened at Noise Fest. It was like, all right, everybody that's here tonight can play. Who wants to play? And 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 it was pretty fun. But sometimes it's better for me to like think about, oh, I want to add somebody like playing an electric fiddle, you
Mm,
know, something
yes.
that's a sound that's not normally going to come out of what you would expect.
A fiddle. I think a fiddle could work really well. I
Yeah,
think it would be,
I like electric fiddle. I know a couple electric fiddle players are pretty fun.
well, it's not as dangerous as a banjo.
Right, that's can be dangerous for sure. There's a guy that lives across the street here that makes amazing shop across the street. He builds them,
Wow.
sells them across the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Here in Miami,
Miami. Who knew that there was room for a Miami in Arizona?
there's Miami.
Do they have it any other Florida cities in Arizona?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any other Floridian cities here. I just know
Yeah.
that there's Miami.
Before I start rumors and start
There's a
guessing,
Glendale, Arizona nearby. That confuses me. So
yeah, you start looking for the 14.
I get on the road and I'm all, wait, this is not the road to Glendale. No.
Your most inspiring instrument is the phone. You're living in Miami,
For
Arizona.
this adventure, yeah, the piece that I'm using for this new for your event, I'm using my phone.
So
Uh,
Andrew, it sounds like Andrew was instrumental in assembling all these clips,
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he pre-directed the piece. I just shot all the clips. They're all pieces I shot, and he
right?
did the
And he
director.
assembled
He's
them.
yeah, in a way that fit with the. This is the second piece that he's done
Well,
for
he's
me.
really quite good with all things technical and visual. It seems like
Yeah,
he really excels with that.
and I think the next one that I'm going to do, I'm going to have Chad Williams direct.
Oh, wow, how
So the
great.
next one that I do is going to we've been talking about that recently, and then but actually the next number audio waffle. There's going to be I have my new solo project that's going to make its premiere debut.
Wow.
The new
So that would
yeah
be the third Sunday of December?
of December, yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be the week after your beautiful festival. I'm excited to be playing Santa Ana for another time without actually having to go to Santa Ana. Although I would love to be in Santa Ana. I love Santa Ana.
A rapidly evolving city. We were at a restaurant by the train station that's built out of containers and is mostly
Ooh, neat.
outdoors. And it was really pretty
Wow.
splendid. So you never know. Santa Ana. Who would have thought? So
Yeah, I went to a cool breakfast place there and went to a record. Had some good times. It was fun.
very cool. Well, thank you, Lob, and have a good evening.
Hey,
Mark
thank you,
Soden.
Mark, for doing this and making it happen, man. I'm looking forward to yet another wonderful Santa Ana Noise Festival. I look forward to the time when I get to come back to Santa Ana and make noise in Anna with Santa Anans.
Yes, yes,
It would
and
be
we
fun
look forward to
too.
that as
I would love
well.
I would love that sometime.
Thanks again. This is Mark Soden for Santa Ana Noise Fest 13 with Lob from Instagon. Have a nice evening.